Imagine this. You're standing in the grand halls of the Renaissance courts, where wealth drips from every corner and ambition runs thicker than blood. The air is filled with whispers of alliances and betrayals, but you, young, brilliant, and eager, are the rising star of the court. Your wit dazzles, your talents outshine, and your charm draws eyes wherever you go. One man notices more than anyone else, the ruler himself. At first, his admiration feels like validation. His compliments come often, his trust seems unshakable. But then something shifts. The smiles become colder, invitations to private councils dwindle. And one day you're not just out of favor, you're out of the court altogether. Banished, disgraced, or worse. Why? Because in your desire to shine, you forgot a fundamental truth. No one likes being made to feel small, least of all those in power. This is the essence of the first law of power, as outlined in Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power. Never outshine the master. It's a lesson rooted in centuries of history, but its implications are just as relevant today. Take the story of Nicolas Fouquet, the ambitious superintendent of finance for King Louis XIV of France. Fouquet was a man of exceptional intelligence and flair, a master of charm and a patron of the arts. He was also wildly ambitious, and in his mind his talents were indispensable to the Sun King. When Fouquet felt his position was threatened, he decided to secure his standing by throwing the most opulent party France had ever seen. He hosted the king, along with the entire court, at his chateau, a palace so extravagant it made Versailles look humble. The night was filled with music, wine, and fireworks that lit up the sky like the gods themselves were celebrating. But here's where the story takes a fateful turn. The king, instead of being impressed, felt overshadowed. Fouquet's display of wealth and power wasn't seen as a loyalty, it was seen as arrogance. Days later, Fouquet was arrested and spent the rest of his life in prison. The lesson is chilling. In your desire to be admired, you might just awaken resentment instead. It's a pattern that repeats throughout history and life, where brilliance and ambition can become a threat rather than an asset. But why does this happen? Why do people in power who seem untouchable react so fiercely to being outshined? And how can you navigate this delicate balance of ambition and deference without losing your light entirely? We'll uncover how this principle has shaped some of the greatest triumphs and failures in history, and how you can use it to thrive in your own life without falling into Fouquet's trap. Picture this. You are the king, the Sun King, Louis XIV, the man who embodies divine authority itself. Your word is law. Your presence eclipses all, and your court revolves around you like planets around the sun. But now, in this moment, you feel something gnawing at your core. It's not a military threat or a whisper of rebellion. It's something subtler. Nicolas Fouquet's party was dazzling, yes, but it left a bitter aftertaste. The applause for his brilliance echoed too long. The admiration he drew from your courtiers burned too brightly. And then it hits you. This man, your own subordinate, has stolen the spotlight. It's as if the sun was momentarily eclipsed. And no one forgets an eclipse. You see, for those in power, admiration is a zero-sum game. If the court's eyes are on Fouquet, they are not on you. And so, despite his talents, despite his years of loyalty, Fouquet must be removed. Not because he failed, but because he succeeded too much. This is the paradox of power. The very qualities that make you exceptional, your talent, your charm, your ambition, can also make you a threat. And here's the key. Power is not just about control, it's about perception. When you outshine the person above you, it doesn't matter if you intended to or not. To them, your brilliance feels like a challenge. It whispers of competition, even rebellion. And for those who sit at the top, the fear of being toppled is a shadow that never leaves. Let's step away from the French court and look at another genius who learned this lesson the hard way. Galileo Galilei. Galileo was a man of science armed with a telescope and a mind that could pierce the heavens. He uncovered truths about the universe that reshaped humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. But in doing so, he made a fatal misstep. He dedicated his work to the Pope, hoping to secure the Church's favor. Instead, his discoveries, that the Earth revolved around the Sun, were seen as a direct challenge to the Church's authority. It didn't matter that Galileo was right. What mattered was that his brilliance cast a shadow over the institution that claimed to hold the ultimate truth. The result? Galileo was placed under house arrest for the rest of his life, his voice silenced by the very power he sought to illuminate. Now let's bring this to today. Think about your own life, your workplace, your community, even your social circles. Have you ever worked tirelessly on a project only to find your boss strangely distant afterward? Or perhaps you vowed a room with your ideas only to feel the subtle chill of resentment from someone in authority. This is the first law of power in action. The truth is, it doesn't matter how brilliant you are if your brilliance makes someone else feel small. But here's the twist. This law isn't about dimming your light. It's about learning how to direct its glow. So how do you navigate this minefield? First, you must master the art of discretion. Never flaunt your achievements without considering how they'll be received. Instead, allow your successes to reflect back on your superior. Let them believe your victories are their victories. Second, practice humility, not true humility but the appearance of it. Make yourself indispensable, but never look like a rival. Frame your talents as tools to serve the person above you. And finally, remember this. Power is really about what is said, it's about what is felt. Your actions must soothe egos, not inflame them. Your light must warm, not burn. But here's the dilemma, how far should you go? At what point does protecting yourself from the resentment of others start to feel like betrayal of your own potential? We'll explore the fine line between playing the game and losing yourself in it. And we'll uncover the surprising ways you can wield this law not just to survive, but to thrive without sacrificing your authenticity. Because mastering the first law of power isn't about shrinking, it's about understanding the delicate dance of ambition and deference. A dance that, if done well, can place you not just in the spotlight, but in control of it. Imagine yourself in a room filled with your peers and superiors. You've just completed a presentation that left the audience in awe. The applause is deafening. Your boss smiles, but beneath that smile, you sense something off, a flicker of tension in their eyes. And now the question gnaws at you. Have I just set myself up for failure? Have I broken the first law of power? You feel the pull of two opposing forces. On one side, your ambition urging you to shine brighter. On the other, the cold reality of human nature demanding you dim your light for survival. The tension is unbearable, the stakes enormous. But what if there's a way to resolve this conflict, a way to achieve greatness without awakening the resentment of those above you? This is where the true mastery of the first law of power lies. Let's return to our earlier question. How far should you go in concealing your brilliance? The answer lies not in suppressing your talent but in reframing it. The secret to mastering this law is understanding that power is relational. It's not just about you, it's about how you make others feel in your presence. Take Joseph Stalin, one of history's most calculating power players. Early in his political career, Stalin wasn't the fiery orator or charismatic leader many of his rivals were. He was unassuming, a man who seemed content to work quietly behind the scenes, and that's exactly why no one saw him coming. While others outshone Lenin with their bold speeches and grand visions, Stalin positioned himself as the loyal, indispensable worker. He framed his success as service, never as ambition. By the time his rivals realized the threat he posed, Stalin had already consolidated his power. Now, this isn't to suggest you emulate Stalin's ruthless methods, but his strategy reveals a profound truth. You don't have to shine to win, sometimes it's enough to reflect. How does this translate to modern life? Here's how you can wield the first law of power without betraying yourself. 1. Make your superior the hero. When presenting your ideas or achievements, frame them as part of a larger vision led by your superior. Use phrases like, "This builds on the incredible foundation you've laid," or "Your guidance was key to making this happen." It's not flattery, it's strategy. 2. Share the spotlight. When you succeed, involve your superior in the narrative. "We achieved this together" is far more disarming than "I made this happen." Sharing credit diffuses jealousy while still showcasing your value. 3. Master the art of subtlety. True power players know how to shine without blinding others. Instead of announcing your brilliance, let your results speak quietly. The less you boast, the more others will advocate for you. 4. Be a student of ego. Recognize that everyone, no matter how powerful, has insecurities. Learn to read the room, to sense when your success might be stirring resentment, and adjust accordingly. Consider Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential figures in media. Throughout her career, Oprah never sought to outshine her guests or collaborators. Instead, she made them feel like the stars of the show. She listened, uplifted, and celebrated others, all while quietly building an empire of her own. Her power lies in her ability to elevate those around her, creating loyalty rather than resentment. Oprah proves that you can achieve greatness without triggering the defenses of those in power. Now let's address the deeper concern. Does following the first law of power mean compromising your authenticity? The answer is no. Mastering this law isn't about becoming a sycophant or suppressing your potential. It's about playing the long game. True power comes not from momentary brilliance but from sustained influence. By understanding the dynamics of ego and perception, you don't have to extinguish your fire, you simply learn to control its warmth, directing it in ways that benefit both you and those around you. So as you step back into your own world, whether it's the boardroom, the classroom, or even your social circle, remember this: power is not about being the brightest star in the room, it's about understanding the constellations and positioning yourself within them. Never forget the fate of Nicolas Fouquet, whose brilliance cost him everything. But also remember the quiet rise of Stalin, the strategic wisdom of Oprah, and the countless others who thrived not by overpowering, but by mastering the delicate dance of power. Your ambition is your gift, but the way you wield it, that is your art. So tread carefully, play wisely, and above all, never outshine the master. Because in the game of power, survival isn't just about brilliance, it's about balance. And those who master the first law don't just survive, they ascend. Subscribe to the channel for masterpiece summaries of masterpiece books. Not interested in useless things.